Today's episode is sponsored by Truebill. I think we all racked up a lot of streaming subscriptions over the last year and a half that we're not even watching anymore. Find and cancel useless subscriptions with Truebill. Truebill is the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions that you don't need, want, or simply forgot about. On average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill. Don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at truebill.com/out. And go right now. Truebill.com/out. It could save you thousands a year. Truebill.com/out. Today's sponsor is brought to you by BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. You don't have to limit yourself to the counselors located near you. You can find the particular expertise that you need online. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with a licensed professional therapist. So as a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/outspoken. And join over the 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/outspoken. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a very good holiday. Welcome to episode 53 of Outspoken. So, today I figured I always have to look at my notes before I start the episode because I forget everything that I'm going to be doing. Today, what I have for you is, wow, there is a lot going on. So, the basis of today's episode is going to be Unpopular Opinions LGBT edition. And I had people send in some unpopular opinions from Instagram on the LGBTQ community. I used to have some unpopular opinions when I was younger, when I was a younger T. And I want to see how those have changed, actually, because some of the ones that people sent in, these are all sent in from Instagram. I just had people send them. They're all anonymous. I'm not going to put any usernames or anything in there. So we'll see if I can make you mad today. I'm just joking. Everyone has their own opinions, and it's just fun to share them and think about them for a little bit, I guess. I don't really know. But before I get into that, all I wanted to say is, does anybody else think Elon Musk is so annoying? I don't know why. For some reason, I get random notifications from people, and every so often Elon Musk's tweets will come up, which is weird because I don't follow him. But his tweets are always so, I feel like a middle school boy is tweeting for this man, and I just don't. I don't know. I can't get behind him. Without further ado, let's see the unpopular opinions that were sent in to me on Instagram. And let's see if we agree. There's transphobia, biphobia, acephobia, etc. within the community. Of course there is. Yeah, I definitely think there is. I think that's kind of a popular opinion. Well, some people in the community do think that just because they are in the community that they can't possibly be transphobic or something. I just think people within the community think that they could say anything about anybody else because they're in the community, right? So they couldn't possibly ever be transphobic or something like that. So, I agree with that for sure. Folks spelled with an X instead of folks, F-O-L-K-S, isn't productive and draws attention away from actual issues. I mean, me personally, I don't think it draws attention away from actual issues because I don't think anybody really looks at it too much. If they prefer to say it with an X, that's cool. I don't say the word folks. I say guys, so I purposely misgender a bunch of you guys without even doing it on purpose. But that's what comes out of my mouth. You know what I'm saying? Or losers or something. I don't know. I'm not very nice to you guys. Live, laugh, lesbian, and that's it. Honestly, I agree. Live, laugh, lesbian. They should just start replacing those stupid signs that say live, laugh, love. Just do live, laugh, lesbian. Fuck it. It's valid when AMAB, non-binary, dress masculine. So for those of you who don't know what that means, it means a male at birth, non-binary person, dressing masculine. Dressing masculine. Yeah, of course it is. I've always said, regardless of your gender, you could dress however you want. I think people who disagree with that are really odd because clothes are clothes, and they're literally just pieces of cloth that society has put genders and stereotypes or whatever to. If you guys already know my opinion on that, so yeah, of course, wear whatever the fuck you want. Don't need a million different names for identities. So let's think about this one for a second. For me personally, doesn't bother me if someone wants to have 5 different labels. So me personally, just doesn't bother me. I mean, I guess necessarily. I mean, some people do like them and they do need them, from what I'm trying to understand. Like, I don't know. Actually, this is like pretty vague though. Like, what do you mean by identities? Like different gender identities? I mean, it's just, I guess, whatever makes somebody feel comfortable. All I want to be called is just a man. That's fine with me. But for other people, it's different. So nobody else is ever in the like place to tell someone who they are or what they can and can't do or what they can and can't go by, which is something I failed to realize when I was younger in the trans community. So it doesn't bother me personally. The chemical tattoo of testosterone is ugly and tacky in most cases. So I don't agree with this one. I looked it up because I didn't know what it looked like, and I think it looks sick. It looks really, really cool. I mean, of course, if any tattoo can look fucking ugly and tacky if it's done in an ugly and tacky way, but that's a pretty cool tattoo. I might get it on my ass cheek. I don't know about you, but nah, it looks cool. Because people, well, I probably wouldn't get it because then I'd be outing myself because they'd be like, "What's that for?" And then I'd be like, "Testosterone," and they'd be like, "What? Okay, wow, didn't know you were a man. I guess now I know. Why do you love testosterone so much? What are you, gay?" And then it would just not be. It wouldn't be a good situation. So in my submissions, by the way, this is one that came up a lot, and a lot, and a lot of people have very strong opinions on this. And I don't. And it says, straight cis ace people shouldn't be in the LGBT community. And I've never understood why people are so against asexual people and with being in the community and stuff like that. Because isn't asexuality a sexuality? Isn't asexuality a sexuality? But why can't they be in the LGBT community? Am I gonna get yelled at for saying that? Like, I don't see the issue with it. I'm just trying to think. If they're asexual, that's another sexuality, is it not? So why? So like, why not? I guess is my question. We are called the alphabet mafia for a reason. Yes, I agree with that. We are just as big and bad as a mafia. So honestly, I'd be scared of us too. I would probably, if I wasn't in the community, I would never ever make any jokes about the community ever. I would be terrified because we are so big and we're so bad. Next one says, Pride apparel from Target or something during June is kind of the worst thing ever. I'm going to be honest with you, I agree. For me personally, I hate Pride merch. I don't like Pride merch. Well, specifically because I just don't want to out myself in public, like randomly. I can't, and a lot of Pride merch can look super tacky and super bad because, like, obviously people can profit off of it, so they're just gonna slap a rainbow on there with the word Pride or like gay or some shit, and then they can make thousands or even millions, depending on who produces it, of dollars, just because they put a rainbow on something. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are progressive either. So it's always interesting. I I love it when stores just all come out with Pride stuff during Pride Month. Well, I don't know what else to say. Yes, I do agree they are ugly. Most of them. Some people care way too much on how people identify and present themselves. Let people live. I agree, and I find most of that within the community as well. There are so many people who are so... Just go, you have to leave the house. You have to go outside. You have to leave the house. I don't know why you're arguing with people on Twitter about their own identity. Please just do something else progressive with your time. Like, attacking your own community is not going to do anything, and it drives me absolutely insane. And I used to be part of that discourse, and it was so fucking annoying, and it was so frustrating. And it was just, even coming from, like, the wrong side that I came from, it was just, like, it was exhausting because there's no way that you could possibly gatekeep everybody else's identity, and I think it's so stupid that people are still trying to do it now. For me, when I grew up and I matured, my views changed, obviously, so I think that some people just have a little bit of growth to do. I mean, granted, not everybody's going to grow, but I think there's way too much focus on each other, about each other's identities, and it's just like, please just shut up and let's focus on something else that's actually going to help people get their rights, or help a person get top surgery, or help a person get hormones or something like that. Like, instead of attacking each other for having different opinions on the internet, go walk your dog or like go to the gym or do something that is going to help the community move forward instead of being mad at some random stranger for 2 hours and then sulking on it for the rest of the day. It's not even, and that goes for any situation ever anyways. Fuck that. Just fuck that. All right. Somebody else said, even if you're LGBTQ, calling everything gay and making fun of gay things perpetuates homophobia. So I sat down and I thought about this one for a little bit. And I think I agree with it because it can be a little deep. Like if you're thinking in terms of like when you're calling something that is like ugly or stupid or boring, if you're calling it gay, you're associating the word with something negative. But sometimes it's not always that deep, because I know a lot of people who are like, that's gay, and they'll be gay. And it's like, it's whatever to them. It's a joke or something like that. But I can definitely see where it does perpetuate homophobia, because when I was younger, when kids were younger, and I wonder if people still do this today, like we would be like, that's gay, or like you're gay or something like that. And when you're younger, growing up and hearing that, you're associating that with something that's bad. And I did that as a kid too. So, and that's why I stayed closeted with liking girls, because that probably had an effect on me. And I didn't think it was okay to be gay, because gay is bad, right? So, and also I felt like a boy, so it was just very confusing. And I was like, I'm not a girl who likes girls, so I don't know what's going on with me. There was still a part of me that didn't want to say that I liked girls. And wonder if growing up and hearing that from the other kids had anything to do with it. Probably partially. So yeah, I could definitely see that for sure. Today's episode is sponsored by Truebill. I think we all racked up a lot of streaming subscriptions over the last year and a half that we're not even watching anymore. Find and cancel useless subscriptions with Truebill. Truebill is the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions that you don't need, want, or simply forgot about. On average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill. Because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, Truebill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts and Truebill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap. And your Truebill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions, so you don't have to. Earlier this year, I downloaded Truebill, and it showed me all of my monthly subscriptions. I realized that I was subscribed to random apps and streaming companies that I totally forgot about. So I got on Truebill, canceled all of them, and they've already saved me hundreds of dollars. And by the way, stay on top of your spending with Truebill. Get an effortless breakdown of your finances to see where your money is going and how to improve. Truebill will notify you of important events that need your attention, so you're never caught off guard again. Join the more than 2 million Truebill members taking back financial control. Go to the App Store or Google Play today and download Truebill today for free. Don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at truebill.com/out. And go right now. Truebill.com/out. It could save you thousands a year. Truebill.com/out. People who make LGBTQ their entire personality are annoying. So I actually got this one a big handful amount of times. That wasn't coherent. A large amount of times. And first of all, I disagree, because have you seen my channel? I'm just joking. I don't think it is annoying. And a lot of people did say it was annoying or it's stupid or they need to find a hobby or something like that. I don't think that if you want to revolve your life around being gay or trans and you have like pride or something and you're just like always listening to like gay artists, or I don't even know, how would someone make their sexuality or identity their entire personality? Like by associating everything with it? I mean, I don't think that's annoying. If they want to do that, then that's fine. Whatever. I don't know, maybe that's just because like I think people should be who they are, and if they want to be annoyingly gay or annoyingly trans, like it's fine with me. If it doesn't annoy me, I'll still hang out with you. I don't care. I don't know. The Progress pride flag is annoying. So what I'm assuming that this is talking about is the new pride flag. It has like the transgender colors in it. And I'll show a picture of it if you're watching. You guys have probably seen it everywhere. When I first saw this, I was like, yeah, no. Like, can you just, I know that I'm part of the flag. I know, and you should just leave it rainbow. I don't know. The rainbow is there specifically for for the whole community. I like the original. I still like the original better. I just don't know why us trans had to intervene with that. I think the flag was beautiful just as it was. Beautiful rainbow flag. That's all I need. That's all we need. We know it means LGBT. Biphobia is way too normalized. I got this one so many times, and I do agree. So many people are always hating on the bisexual people, and I just don't get it. If you're like 90-10, 70-30, if you're not like a 50-50 bisexual, or like if you're, let's say you're a woman and then you're bisexual and then you end up getting married to a man, they'll just be like, oh, you're not bisexual anymore, you're straight or whatever. And it's like, that doesn't even make any sense, because and then if she went with a woman and it's, oh, you're a lesbian, right? So it's like, bisexual people are telling you that they like men and women or whoever they like. That means that they do like both of them, and just because they're dating one of them doesn't cancel that out. They know their own sexuality better than you do. It is so weird that people try to dictate bisexual people's lives. It's so fucking weird. I've literally seen that just scrolling on Twitter. Someone will be like, well, I 90% like men and I 10% like women, and they'll be like, well, you're actually a gay man. And it's like, that's not true. That's not how that works at all. You can't know you're trans at a very young age because your brain isn't fully developed. So I'm just going to assume this submission is due to a lack of education. Your brain isn't fully developed until you are 25 years old. For me, from my own anecdotal experience, I knew, and this is the millionth time I've said it, I knew at a very, very young age, maybe like 5 years old, maybe younger than that. And I wasn't like, I'm transgender. Like I had this really weird different feeling, and kids do have this really weird different feeling because I experienced it as a kid, and I know what that felt like. It's very confusing. You don't understand what it is, and as you get older, you kind of start having an understanding, even though you don't have the word for it. And you're just like, I feel like a boy, or I feel like a girl, and you keep those feelings inside you. And the way that dysphoria felt for me, even when I was younger, it's just a really odd feeling. And I don't think it's like progressive at all to say that you can't know something because your brain isn't fully developed, because that doesn't even make any sense. That's almost like saying you don't know that you actually like watermelons at 10 because your brain hasn't fully developed. So how are you supposed to know that? Your mind could change, whatever. That doesn't make any sense. It's the same thing like saying that you can't know you're gay at 16 because you're 16 and the brain fully develops at 25. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm just going to assume that this was like an uneducated thing. Because trans people do know at a very young age. Not all of them, but a lot of us, if you think back on it, even if you think that you didn't know when you were younger, if you think back on it, some of the memories you have, you might be like, oh shit, like I fucking knew. So yeah, you can know at a young age, for sure. The age you can get hormones should be 15, as long as you have persistent dysphoria. This is very specific. Honestly, I don't even know. What is the age? I think that varies by state, though. I started T when I was 17 years old. I think that there is a rule, though. Yeah. Well, I guess it's different for every state, and it's different now. But when I went to therapy, she wanted to see me for a little while before she gave me hormones. To see if I had like persistent dysphoria, I guess. And that was back in 2012 or something, or 2011 or something like that. I don't even know. I think it was 2012. And yeah, I don't know how different that is today because it's almost 10 years later. So I don't know the age or anything like that hormones can get started on. If I could have started them earlier, if I could have taken puberty blockers, that would have been fantastic. But unfortunately, I was a big baby and I couldn't come out until I was 15. And then you have to start the process, so you can't really get access to things until you start the process. So I feel like the community puts so much pressure on labeling your sexuality. Like, why can't I just be me? And I agree with that fully too. And I feel like people are so pressured to come up with a label for themselves and stuff like that. And my advice has always been, please take your time. Please you don't have to sit there and think of like what label you are or what sexuality you like officially are or anything like that. And it's just, don't rush a label. Don't rush anything like that. It's, you don't have to label yourself at all yet, ever, if you don't want to. If you're just like, yeah, I'm Sam and I like everyone, and I like people, it's fine. If you're not comfortable with a label, you don't have to put one on yourself. No, you don't owe that explanation to anybody, and you don't owe anybody like their curiosity about your sexuality or your gender. You don't have to say anything. And if they're asking you and you don't know the answer, it's just, You don't have to come up with one because you you don't owe them anything. I hope that you guys know that. So don't feel pressured to find some label to put on yourself. You don't have to put yourself in a box ever. It's not worth it. It's not worth the stress. You'll find that label eventually, maybe. And if you don't, that's totally okay too, but you don't have to rush into it. Today's sponsor is brought to you by BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. You don't have to limit yourself to the counselors located near you. You can find the particular expertise that you need online. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with a licensed professional therapist. Some of the things our counselors specialize in are anxiety, depression, LGBTQ matters, relationships, and a lot more. You can schedule weekly video or phone sessions with your counselor and you will get timely and thoughtful responses. And BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if you need to. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. By the way, their service is available for anybody worldwide. You can contact your counselor by phone call, video call, or text if that's something you prefer. So as a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/outspoken. And join over the 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/outspoken. Neopronouns. I'm all for respecting them, but to say they aren't confusing is a lie. Neopronouns were something that I was very against and confused about a few years ago. And after having a handful of followers, because I did make a couple of tweets, I think, and people replied and they were explaining how they work and stuff like that because I was being a dick, and I just was like, I don't know what the fuck that means, and I don't care, basically. And then people explained it to me and stuff like that, and I didn't really care back then, but as time progressed, I learned more about them, and I took what the people said into consideration about them, and it's like, you can still respect something without understanding it. Like, people, like, saying that they are confusing. They are confusing for a lot of people. Yeah, today, I'm fine with them. I don't care. Like, they don't bother me at all. I don't feel how I did a few years ago. If you want me to use your neopronouns, I'm going to use your neopronouns. And a lot of people, you don't have to understand something fully to respect somebody. You know what I'm saying? If that's what makes them feel comfortable, that's fine with me. I'll call you whatever you want to be called. Like, it just, again, for me personally, doesn't bother me. I have other things to worry about than somebody else telling me who they are, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you who you are because I don't know you, and what you should and you shouldn't go by because I don't know you, and I'm not going to gatekeep your life. That doesn't even make any sense. Why would I even do that? I think that's still a giant debate in the community as well, and people argue about this all the time. And honestly, I'm just sitting there and I'm just shaking my head. Just like again, like the earlier thing that I said, just why don't we focus on something that actually does something for the community instead of telling other people what they should and they shouldn't do, even if you don't like it. If you don't like it, that's fine. Just move on with your day. Don't harass this poor person. Just leave them alone. Leave them alone. See? Look, I just used a neopronoun. It worked because I don't know who I'm referring to. Worked out perfectly. You can't, quote unquote, love gay people but not support their lifestyle. End quote. That's just bigotry. Agreed, of course. I hate when people say this shit. This shit makes me so mad. They'll always say, oh no, I'm not homophobic, but I just don't think you should get married. The fuck does that even mean? That's the definition of homophobia. And then they'll sit there and be like, well, I'm not afraid of gay people, so I'm not actually homophobic. It's, yes, you are. You're afraid of them getting married because it makes you uncomfortable. You are scared of them. If a gay man walked by you or talked to you, you would probably piss your pants for whatever reason because you're homophobic. So, yes, I do think you're scared of them. And that's so contradictory. Like, you can say that with anything. You can say that about trans people, too. It's like, if you aren't supporting... Also, it's not a lifestyle. I hate when somebody uses that word. If you're not supporting me or supporting your brother or sister who is gay, then to me, that's no support. And that's just, silence. You know what they say. Silence is the side of the oppressor. Is that the saying? If you're silent, you're taking the side of the oppressor. That's how I've always looked at it too. If there's stuff going on and you're just silent, Just like, you know, when they talk about bullying in school. You guys ever taught that lesson about bullying in school? Like, if you're silent, you're part of the bullying, because you're literally watching somebody get bullied, but you're doing nothing about it. So essentially, I mean, you're kind of like not really helping out the bullied person. I mean, that's situational. It can be very scary when you're a kid and someone else is getting beat up. You don't want to get beat up too. But like, if you're just going to sit here and tell me that you don't support me, then I think that you are transphobic. There's nothing else that I could say. Why don't you support me? Give me your reasons. And then they're going to list off a bunch of homophobic or transphobic reasons. And then there you go. Boom, have the answer. They actually are homophobic. Sam Collins is the best LGBTQ YouTuber on this planet. Now, this is a very controversial one, and I disagree. Honestly, if you've ever watched Sam Collins videos, this guy's a fucking twat. Don't watch him. Unsub to him. Guy sucks. This one just says it's becoming a trend. And that's very vague. So, I mean, I've never thought the LGBT community is becoming a trend. I just think that more people, since it is shown more everywhere, since it's more accepted, more widely accepted, more shown, more portrayed, all that great stuff, I think just people are less scared to come out, and people are also open to questioning their sexuality with, you know, people who might not have ever done that before because of societal standards and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily think it's a trend. I think that there's just more of a spike because there's more acceptance today than there has ever been, and people are just less scared, and there's so many more support systems and places you can go to talk about it, and yeah, people just feel a lot more safe than they did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. So yeah, and I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing because I want us to take over the world. It's my evil plan. Okay. And this last one says, detransitioners should not have a say in the community. And this was a very interesting one. I wanted to think about this one. So this is situational because there are detransitioners who absolutely hate the trans community and think that just because they weren't trans, nobody else is trans. I think that they should have absolutely no say in the community at all. But detransitioners who detransitioned because they couldn't afford it, or because they have health issues, or because they were never going to pass, or something like that, or literally just any fucking reason, or realize that they weren't trans, I think that they should definitely have a say in the community, because there are going to be people who do the same thing. You know, someone might have to detransition for X, Y, or Z, or somebody might detransition because they ended up saying, hey, I'm actually I'm not really sure what the hell was going on, but yeah, I am not trans, because this might happen with other people, right? And I don't think it's a bad idea to have those stories out there, because inevitably there are still going to be people who detransition. I think that's just something that happens. I don't think it's something that can be helped. And some people just make mistakes, or some people just can't deal with, like, the health issues that come along with surgeries or hormones, or some people can't deal with not passing and being misgendered, because some people it'll be really hard for them to pass regardless, and it'll be easier to live as what you were born as, instead of trying to pass all the time and feeling really, really down, even though you're still having those feelings of gender dysphoria when you detransition and go back to how you were living before. I don't think that makes people less trans either, if they choose not to transition, or if they stop their transition, because they still feel the same way, but there are just there's just some things that they can't deal with being trans. It's not easy, and honestly, I don't blame people for detransitioning for whatever reason it may be. I don't see the point in putting those people down, because their experience is still an experience, and it's still an experience like mine, even though they can't continue to transition. It's a lot on you mentally when you transition. It really is. It still is, and it's very hard to deal with. And some people just can't fucking do that, and I don't blame them, because it drives me insane. If I didn't pass like I do, that would bother me a lot. And I know that's just one example of why someone might detransition, but I just couldn't, I don't know, I just can't see that it would really, really bother me. And I don't know what I would do about it. So, I do think they should have a voice. But the detransitioners who are assholes, definitely not. The ones who think that just because they weren't trans, nobody else is trans, that's bullshit. And they should just go speak at a Ben Shapiro meeting instead or something. Or actually, don't speak at all. Go hide in a cave. Just because you're not trans doesn't mean that we aren't. Boo-hoo. All right, and we've come to the end of the line. So, what did you think of all that? Is anybody mad? Is anybody sad? Is anybody like agreeing with me on every single point? That would be interesting. But yeah, that was good. Thank all of you for sending in those. I really appreciate it. It was a fun video to think back on all these different opinions, and weird to see how my opinions have changed, because some of these things I definitely would have agreed with like 3 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago. So very, very interesting. So now what I'm going to do is, guess what? Yeah, I'm reading LGBTQ stories. Hey everybody, I know this sounds like shit, but long story short, one of these stories got cut out of my pre-filmed episode of this podcast, and I'm not home right now because I have COVID, so I don't have access to my microphone. So there's only one story here today. My deepest, sincerest apologies. But stay safe out there. Don't get COVID. It's everywhere right now. It's literally everywhere right now. So yeah, enjoy this story, because I don't know where the other one went. I don't know where the other one went anyways. Fuck. And we have one more story before I go, and it says, when I first told my friend that I was trans, he said that he was cool with it, and I told him my new name and my pronouns. It's been about 5 months now, and he's terrible at calling me my new name and using the right pronouns. I try to correct him, but he doesn't seem to care. I've tried to have a talk with him about it, but he's the type of person who doesn't really seem to take anything seriously, and it's just really starting to get on my nerves. The most annoying part is, he's trans too, so it feels like he's supposed to correct himself and just get it right. I don't know if I'm just too sensitive or if he truly doesn't care. I'm really not sure what I should do. Right now I'm just trying to avoid him, which is hard because we're in a couple of classes together and we have to sit together during lunch. But I know I just can't keep avoiding him. What do? I need some help on this. So when I was reading this story and then you said that he was also trans, I was like, what the what? Because that doesn't even make any sense. Like, if you're trans and you're not respecting your other trans friend's name and pronouns, that doesn't even make any sense. Now, I don't know, does he like not believe you that you're not trans or something? If he's not correcting himself even after you tell him, or naturally, because people will naturally correct themselves when you tell them that, you know, your new pronouns or your new name. If he's not doing that, then I think it's out of ignorance for whatever reason. I mean, I don't know the whole situation, the whole story, but I would just say that's definitely not a mistake, and it's being done on purpose. And if you don't want to avoid him, I would confront him again, and I'd be like, hey dude, look, is there a reason why you're not referring to me, you know, the way that I told you to back in whenever you even told him at first? Because I don't really get it, and it hurts my feelings, and I thought you were my friend, and I, like, what's the problem? And if he doesn't want to give you an answer, to me, that's like, you don't care about me. Like, you're not a good friend if you don't want to communicate with me. You're hurting me, and I'm telling you that, and you're not taking me seriously. So I'm just gonna have to I'm gonna have to go. And that was the last story, by the way. So if any of you want to send in any of your stories, you can submit them to outspokensam@gmail.com. And yeah, I will see all of you in a year. I will see all of you in next year. Do you like my joke? Okay. All right. I'm going to go now. So hope you like this episode. Love you. Goodbye.